Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Psychosab and this is episode 12 following the French Grand Prix. Now, Circuit de Paul Ricard is a fun and absolutely crazy track, but it doesn't mean it's also easy. But last year we did see a fantastic race, so much action from Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez as well. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen this year. Some quick facts about Circuit de Paul Ricard. It is currently owned by Bernie Ecclestone and it was used as a test track for over a decade, including Toyota's expensive testing program. Now, my first lap out on a set of softs, it was going great until Max Verstappen decided to abort his lap for whatever reason, but that totally compromised my lap because I didn't expect him to suddenly slow down like that at the middle of the apex. So I had to go out on another set of softs on the second lap, which didn't result in a great lap time. So I had to go on a third, which is what we're seeing right now. Now, since I'm not using strict track limits in this video series, this lap will be counted, fortunately for me, because this was my last and final attempt to get a good time lap before the race. So that's P6. Not a bad start for a track that I'm not so confident in. So let's see how it goes tomorrow.
Welcome along then to race day at what we hope will be another thrilling Formula One Grand Prix. We have 15 corners here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, but the rain is coming down and making for a slippery racing surface. Luckily, there is plenty of runoff area available and hopefully we'll be able to avoid bringing out a safety car during today's Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. And the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Max Verstappen and Perez, Bottas, Leclerc, Gasly and Lewis Hamilton, Albon, Magnussen, Mick Schumacher and Norris, Vettel, Joe, Yuki Tsunoda and Lance Stroll. Latifi and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Natalie Pinkham, good to have you with us here today. Your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? As a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Alright then, I am not so ready for this race. Wet conditions is not in my strong suit. But let's see, let's get going for my first wet race. And that was a shady start from the beginning, but I'm gonna have to get used to this because the next race in Hungary is also gonna be a wet race. And I'm gonna have to struggle a lot there because that is a quite hard track. So let's see, there might be a possibility of taking the inside line down the first corner and maybe trying to give a little bit of a wider exit for some of the other guys so we can get a better entry to the next turn. So let's see. So here we go then, round 12 of the F1 22 calendar series, the French GP, and it's lights out and away we go. We get a great start, as does everybody else around us. Starting perfectly in the wet conditions isn't the easiest thing to do, but we see Max Verstappen getting a little wiggly and almost pushing me off the track there, but he immediately corrects his mistake. So we do maintain the inside line to the first corner, but that doesn't give us much of an opportunity to make any overtakes, but we will fight back. And there we go, taking the inside line again down the next few corners, making sure we keep that traction up the outside corner and squeeze Fernando Alonso on the outside line to make him go wide and lose that position for me. So that's a good overtake. Let's see if we can make any more moves like this. Now these few corners particularly aren't my strongest suit, so Fernando Alonso comes alongside and we're gonna have to deploy all that ERS to push him almost off the track to make sure he stays on the wrong side of the track when we finally get to the corner. So let's see then we do take the wider outside line and then take the inner line from the next corner, which gives us a better exit, and Fernando Alonso has to receive that position. But that gives Max Verstappen the opportunity to go in the inside. Ooh, that's getting a little squealy in the wet conditions. There's not just enough grip there, but he makes the overtake. And honestly, it's not going to be long before he's chasing me down. So Max Verstappen is quite known to be great in the wet conditions, but here he has made a mistake and he's lost 2 positions as a result, and one of the Mercedes is also challenging them right there. So he's going to have to pick up the pace and stop making some mistakes. We of course do not have DRS in wet conditions. DRS will not be enabled. So let's see if that makes any interesting overtakes. As Lewis Hamilton gets ahead of Max Verstappen, that little mistake has been very costly. He's lost 3 positions now. So as expected, I am getting a little squiggly around the corners here. In wet conditions there's just not enough grip, and that's allowing Alonso to challenging me again. Honestly, it's about time I get some practice in wet conditions, because this is going to be a lot of wet races, which I haven't seen in the F1 2021 game. While recording this series, I had all dry races, so I'm going to get some practice there. So I've lost the position to the Alpine, and now the Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, is also challenging, but we don't give him enough space there to make a complete overtake. So we do go down the outside and squeeze him a little bit for the next corner, but that does still give him a better exit, and he's almost about to make it, but there's just not enough space. We close the door and he's gonna have to try again next time, which is right now, and he makes a little bit of contact there. Just not enough space for a dive bomb right there, but he still does make that move stick. Are we still around the outside? I'm guessing not, but he is making a lot of mistakes, and I should be able to make that move. Alright, so these are my weakest corners, so I probably wasn't able to get close enough, so we're gonna have to try again. Maybe the ERS straight, we can give it a go. So I've definitely lost Charles Leclerc from my sights, and now Lewis Hamilton also starts challenging me, and he does make that position, but we're still in the inside, and we get the better entry to the corner, and we maintain that position on the outside, going a little bit wide, but we just get enough traction to maintain it. But Lewis Hamilton still alongside will be able to make that position. So with a little bit of ERS, we do maintain that position, and there's not a chance he's gonna make an overtake right now. So we're gonna have to wait for him to make a dive bomb somewhere like Charles Leclerc. Now he's not that daring this time. But we have seen Lewis Hamilton's AI do a lot of dive bombs. So there we go, he does try a dive bomb just as we're talking about it, but he does again make contact with my side. This is the second time someone's hit me on the side, just not enough traction. But interesting fact to note, the AI has actually been trying to avoid spray by driving off the racing line. And we saw a little bit of contact there from Lewis Hamilton. He's lost his end plate again. Let's take a look at that replay then. Yeah, that's definitely one of the Mercedes end plates, because I initially thought that might have been from my car, being a red part. Interestingly enough, Albon had this exact same spin yesterday in qualifying, so that was quite an identical carbon copy of whatever happened yesterday. But this isn't going to be causing any issues or safety cars, so we're going to be back at it again. So we can see Lewis Hamilton has jumped into the pits. He's now dropped to 18th position, and so has Max Verstappen, surprisingly. They were challenging for my position there, but now we have Pierre Gasly and Kevin Magnussen who are challenging for my position. Out of the two, Pierre Gasly has been a little bit ahead, but they have been juggling positions now for a couple of corners, so let's see who comes out stronger. Kevin Magnussen does have the inner line to the corner, let's see, but he does make a little bit of mistake in the entry that gives Pierre Gasly also a better exit. So now Pierre Gasly has a better entry to the next corner, but the following corner is better for the Haas, so he does maintain position. Now Gasly is going to have to come back at him. We can see Mick Schumacher also right there at his tail. Beautiful performance from the Haas cars this season, and again the same type of contact between me and Kevin Magnussen. Now there are so many people bumping into my side pods. I'm really worried there might be a big dent, but that seems to have compromised his exit, and he also seems to have a problem. Alright, safety car deployed is not a problem. We're all slowing down, so we have a safety car now. But someone has had a problem. We can see Zhou Guanyu slowing down by the side of the track, but a little bit surprised that this has caused a safety car, considering that he hasn't even stopped on the track yet. But that doesn't bother me, because it's always better for me in wet conditions to get a safety car. That would mean me driving less wet laps, so that's always better for me. One thing I would appreciate though, the game actually mentioning what problem the car had while retiring. That just makes things a little bit more interesting. So here we go then, safety car is ending on lap 11, which means we have another 2 laps of racing left. It's going to make things interesting. We have the Mercedes now leading the race. I just love this camera angle from the rear wing of the safety car. Alright then, let's continue. On lap 12, and I had a bad start after the safety car, and that's compromised my position a little bit. So we're going to have to pick up the pace here, and we can see Kevin Magnussen challenging for P7. So after driving 12 laps in these wet conditions, I was finally able to actually go ahead and pick up the pace and close the gap to the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who's right in front of me. And we can try and look for an overtake, but these are not the ideal places for overtaking. We saw Max Verstappen getting a little squiggly, almost making contact, but we've made the overtake stick. Wow, what a move. But Charles Leclerc is still right there, but he doesn't have the traction because I've taken the inner line through that corner. What a beautiful overtake. I did not expect myself to be able to do that. So we did almost cut that corner, very close to exceeding track limits, but we made it stick, and Charles Leclerc didn't have much of a defense once we took the inner line from the next few corners. Not the best result for the Red Bulls, because Max Verstappen's also back there in 17th. Don't know if he's made up any positions yet, but this is going to be P7 then for me. Oh wait, no, P5. Wow, wait, when did I get 2 positions anyway? So that Ferrari overtake did bring me up to P5. Kevin Magnussen gets the driver of the day. Beautiful driving from him as well. So it's been a fun race, guys. Wet conditions. We also have a wet Hungary race next week, so stay tuned. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Do drop a like, subscribe, and go ahead and check out my other videos, which have been amazing. So this is the second video on the F1 22 game, and so far I've just loved the AI performance and driving. Everything's so great in this game.
They were able to find all the grip.
So we have crossed the midpoint of the season of 11 races out of 23, so that's about 50% of the season now. We have so much more left. We have 12 more races to come. And we're still yet to go to some of the best tracks in Formula 1. So stick around. I hope you guys will enjoy the rest of the season as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.